got a hamster. I named him Neo because I was into the Matrix when I got the hamster. And he was the one. And I went on a trip to England, and little Neo sort of pooped himself to death. He got what's called wet tail, which is something where they get diarrhea and then they dehydrate themselves and then they die.
Oh my God. New fear unlocked.
I think I got wet tail.
Yeah.
Sitting on the can after. Are you asking to turn it down?
Too loud.
Oh. Is it?
Yes.
Control that. Welcome to Oops All Segments. This is the very best podcast hitting your eardrums at this very moment. I'm Kevin.
Really hitting your eardrums this week.
Well, it wasn't that
was
loud.
a little loud. Was it loud, Jared? Did you feel a bit?
I was kind of digging it, but I like loud. I think I'm just kind of deaf, actually.
And I knew that, which is why I played it so loud. Yeah.
Yes.
We're off to a rollicking start here. My name is Thomas, and we are here with special guest, comedian Jared Story. His album, Good Ideas, available now. Check it out.
It's Jared.
Yay.
Welcome to the show,
guys.
Jared. How are you, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. Good. Is there anything new going on in your life? We usually start the show off with a little bit of a check-in. Is there something new you're like, oh, this is something I need to tell people about? It's also very fair. I mean, aside from the album, unless you want to talk about the album more.
I mean, that's pretty much it. That's kind of what I've been focused on.
It's a pretty big deal. It's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
How did you
It took
record
me-
it? What was the venue? What's the vibe?
skinny?
I recorded it at the Park Theater in
nice.
on my birthday in September
Oh.
of 2023.
So people
Yeah, I
had to
didn't
kind of
tell-
show up. They had to be positive. They had to
Yes.
be nice. Yeah.
And I was turning 39, but I told a lot of people I was turning 40.
Yeah.
So they would come.
Kind of get
you know?
them
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
So I'm a
Judd
big
Apatow
liar.
didn't make a movie called This Is 39. No one would have
Exactly.
gone to that shit at all.
Yeah, the 39-year-old virgin didn't do so well at the box office.
No.
Wait, he's
doesn't really have a
obsessed
ring
with
to
the
it.
age 40. I just
Yeah.
realized.
Yes.
He has 2 movies about being 40? What the hell is wrong with him?
Something important must have happened to Judd at 40. So yeah, you said it was at the park, and when you said it recorded on your birthday, which is what month? Sorry, how long ago did you record it?
September. It was in September of last year.
Wow.
And it was a great night. It went really well.
No.
Virgo.
I don't know anything
Yeah.
about astrology, but
but
Kevin
we're
and I
both
are
Leos.
August.
The-
So
yeah,
yeah.
The
we're both
39-year-old Virgo.
Oh,
39-year-old
very
Virgo.
good.
There he is. There
And now
it is.
he'll have to edit the MP3 to add that joke because that's too good.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. So I have a bit of a weird little curiosity question about comedy album and
Sure.
This is a producer thing, so this might be inside baseball for listeners. But I'm curious, so you go out there, you record the set. Obviously, you record.
Yeah.
They I guess they mic the crowd a little bit too.
I had a couple crowd mics. Yeah.
And then afterwards, did you have to do the engineering of it yourself? Did you have to get someone to do it?
Yeah,
Did,
how do you add laughs? Because for me, that would be the biggest obstacle. Like, do you sort of use a canned track or
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Okay,
that's what you should do.
It's all
luckily
canned
luckily I had some laughter on there. I sense it's actually I got a guy to do it and it wasn't quite up to snuff. No disrespect to him. It was just like he hadn't done it before. And so then I got another guy to do it.
You can
name him, give his address if you want to, maybe sort of postal code at least.
Cam Lewepke, I'll name him. He was the engineer who did it, and he's done a lot of stuff like The Weaker Thans and
so he
Imaginary Cities and
Holy crap!
So he's done,
and he made it sound amazing.
Yeah, that's interesting because there is like that whole interlude you have that's like a 7-minute sort of musical epic, and then when the guitars and I'm kidding.
It just occurs to me, Kevin, and no offense, Jared, we should try to get John K. Sampson on the show. I feel like he's a down to earth Winnipeg celeb who would probably say yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he would do it.
Let's just wrap this up now and then like.
Do you want to just say that? Bye, Jared. We just exit. We just close out Jared's window, kick him from the Zoom, and then just add in.
But I don't know. I'm a huge weaker than Sven, and it just occurred to me that that's probably achievable.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
he lives here. Come on.
Yeah. Come on the show, John K. But no, that's really cool, man. Good for you for putting it out there. So if you're at home and listening, do not shut this off, because if you shut it, it's way too early. So don't shut it off, because it'll fuck the algorithm. Just wait 5-10 more minutes, but then go save good times to your Spotify, or good ideas rather to your Spotify. Not good time. That's a sad, scary movie. Good ideas. Go. Put that into your Spotify.
What's your persona? What perspective do you bring as a comedian? What can the audience expect if they want your specific comedy stylings?
I'm from a little tiny town called Grandview, Manitoba. It's less than 1,000 people, probably more like 500 these days. It's grand. Yeah.
And that's the show, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out.
Next week we'll have John K. Sampson. Sorry. Please continue.
Yeah, and I grew up in the country, like on a farm. I grew up outside of town, so I got like a small town kind of view, but I've lived half my life in the city too, so I feel like I'm somewhere in the middle, between the
Mennonite or no?
No, I know. I get that a lot.
White, small town Manitoba.
Yeah, we try to guess the religion of every guest. We just sort of
we try to roll the dice and see if we can get it.
Just a small town kid who wanted to go to the city, and I somehow I think that's kind of my whole personality. So I'm kind of like the most liberal person from the country, or the most conservative person from the city.
Sure.
Yeah.
How old were you when you came to Winnipeg?
Anti-gun, anti-abortion, that kind of dude.
Yeah, anti-everything.
Well, I have a joke about not being pro-abortion. It's I'm not good enough at it yet to turn pro. Anyway.
That's really good.
I like that.
There's more, but I'll...
And the 39-year-old Virgo, that's 2 in like 10 minutes.
Well, I got a lot.
Holy shit. Don't overanalyze his adeptness.
Well, no, it's just like our laughs per minute on the podcast are 1.
Right. But it's just if you start sort of drawing too much attention to it, it'll make it kind of weird. And so, but Jared, I asked this 4 times that Thomas kept steamrolling me. How old were you when you came to the city?
I was 17.
Okay.
I was coming for university. Yeah, and I wasn't quite 18 yet. Couldn't drink, couldn't go to the bar my first month. And
okay. What did you take in university?
What did I do?
Obviously, it didn't take.
It took a little bit.
Hang on. Really glad we made room for this crucial question, Kevin. I was so rudely steamrolling. You got the age and then switched to fucking asking his major. Like this was
I was really trying to figure out what inspired.
It actually all goes together. All goes together. I took communications. Okay. And then I went to Red River College for creative communications, and that's when I did my first stand-up set. So.
Gotcha. I feel like
it didn't take.
I feel like Pre-Com created a lot of comics. I feel like there was a lot of it's creative communications, but I think they're creating comedy cake. I'll see you guys later.
Creating comedy.
I'm good. I think I'm.
I got it.
Yeah.
I also did stand-up for the first time when I was 18 in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And I did it. I thought it went okay, but there was a girl who was told was interested in me who came, and then after my set, she basically ghosted me, like the equivalent of a 2009 ghosting, where I had been told that she wanted to pursue me, and my stand-up set was so embarrassing that she lost interest.
First name, last name, phone number.
Yeah. I'll say her first name, Rebecca. Why not?
Sure. I mean, I won't.
I think I know that person.
No. Wait a second. Did she try to mix your album and fuck it up?
Yeah, that was her.
Damn it.
Shout out to her. All right. Should we spin? Should we
haven't even checked in with
ourselves.
Wait,
yeah. Who are you? Where did you come from?
Who am I?
You just got back.
Who am I?
Who are you, and where did you come from?
Evan has early onset dementia.
I've forgotten everything about my life.
Last episode I pretended I was back from Iceland. Now I actually am back from Iceland.
Right.
There's simply no time to get into it, but I will say I nearly died. It was a terrifying 2 days of driving at the end of the trip. We drove around the entire island counterclockwise from Reykjavik to
Have you been to Iceland before, Jared?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, actually. Yeah.
Oh, cool. How do you go in the winter or the summer? Did you like it?
It was the fall, I think. And yeah, I loved it. I did comedy there too. It was fun.
Oh, cool. Sweet.
Yeah.
It was like one of the coolest places I've ever seen. Like lots of awesome just mountains, and we saw like a frozen waterfall and geysers and this big ice crater. It was amazing. But in the last 2 days, there was this. They warned us early on there would be snow in the north, and we kind of missed it. And then on like the 6th day, we were driving back, and we were gonna stop, but we saw this storm warning in the area, so we were like, ooh, we should drive farther so we're closer to the airport in the morning so we can get back.
Were you driving?
I was driving. And we're sort of trying to outrun the storm. Then the road we were on closed because there was too much snow. So we did this like round the coast peninsula drive, which was 3 hours instead of 1 hour.
Oh my God.
And we were like, well, at least we'll be able to get there and be safe tomorrow. And on those roads, there were these big tunnels, and the snow really picked up in the wind. And so when we would leave a tunnel, there would be like zero visibility. Like you would come out of a tunnel into just pure white.
Oh my God.
And you would see like headlights, and you're on the coast. So it was kind of like a cliff's edge on my right, cars on the left, people behind me in the tunnel. And at one point I had to just like brake because I literally could not see any, like zero.
Yeah.
And we thought we were going to get rear-ended. We were so worried about like drifting off the edge and sliding down the mountain. It was really scary.
Yeah, it's
but
it is kind of scary to drive there.
Yeah.
Like even though the speed limit's low, it's full of tourists and they're not paying attention. Everyone's gawking at the beautiful everything.
Yeah.
You know?
Just constantly.
Yes.
It's a fascinating place too, because it's a really small population, like half the population of Winnipeg in the whole country.
Yeah. That's nuts.
Yeah, but it was I did while in the car, sort of as a joke. I said like goodbye to everyone. I was like, just in case something happens, I told everyone in the trip how much I loved them, and they all got freaked out. They were like,
the man behind the wheel of the car.
The stakes too much.
right. You sort of made it clear. You sort of said the unspoken thing. Like that's like, you know, if you're on a plane and the pilot kind of comes through and he's like, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to let you all know that I really appreciate you being here. And that this means a lot to me that you would trust me on the flight. And then you're like, why is he telling me that? Why is he talking to me in this intimate way? So that's fair. And I mean, I assume Kim is that's probably the only time you've ever told her that you loved her, right?
Yeah, I finally was like, shit, if we're gonna die, I might as well drop the big L bomb.
Right. It's about time.
It was good though. Yeah, it was and actually it was like we got really lucky because we could have been stuck in the storm for days and missed our flights and like spent a lot of money, and maybe we should have because it was dangerous, but we didn't really know until it was too late to turn back how crazy it would be. And so instead we just narrowly missed the storm. Like the roads we had been on the day before kept shutting. So we got this final 2 days.
Kind of like
a heist, like we were escaping Iceland.
Like the ground's falling out beneath you.
Closing. Yeah.
You're John Cusack in 2012.
Did you see any of these like mega SUVs on the road? Like they're huge.
No, I don't think so. Not when we were.
I think they're made for driving on like the glaciers and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, keep in mind, Thomas lives in America. Road,
like tanks.
So he sees a lot of MAGA SUVs, but not a lot of mega SUVs. Sort of,
and does my seeing them have to do with my political affiliation, or is it just that
I sort of, when I say seeing, I mean that you're sort of dating, intimate, like physically, like you fuck the muffler of a lot of MAGA trucks is sort of what I'm saying.
You fuck Trudeau.
Yeah.
I make love to
if you see a bumper sticker, you try to bump that sticker.
The amount of times I've seen a truck with a tramp stamp that says, "Let's go, Brandon," is just through the roof.
Yeah,
so
just kind of gets you hard, from what I understand.
Yeah. Tramp stamp and yet a huge pair of balls hanging off.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Well, Thomas,
nuts.
Thomas doesn't discriminate. Yeah. He's open-minded when it comes to fucking cars.
Kevin, do you have anything going on, or should we just get to a segment?
We should just get onto it. I have nothing going on. My life's a total disaster.
Cool.
Yeah. Actually, I will say this: keep your eyes peeled. I'm doing a play that's coming out because by the time this episode comes out, it might be tickets maybe on sale already. I'm doing The Antipodes by Annie Baker. Thomas's father, George Tolles, is directing, and there's a bunch of people about it. You'll hear about it
play
on the show endlessly for the next few weeks, so no sweat. Cool. But yeah, anyway, check that out. I think it opens on May 29th, runs till the 2nd of June. Yeah, cool. And then Club Soda Improv will be doing the Fringe. But anyway, we'll talk more about those things later. Nice. Let's spin the wheel.
Warm-up segment time. Here we go.
Woo! I'm still here. I'll turn it
down. Last rites. Participant must plan the ideal funeral for themselves.
Oh, wow.
Speaking of near-death experiences. So
no
Jared,
kidding.
Have you thought about this? You ever
have you thought about your demise?
Kind of attending your own funeral? What would you like to see there?
I don't know. I used to think, do you know that song by the Great Big Sea, The Night That Patty Murphy Died?
Yeah.
You heard that one?
I'm not familiar.
It's like the night that I'm not a Great Big Sea guy, but I just know the song. It's like the night that Patty Murphy died is the night I'll never forget. All the boys got loaded drunk and we ain't got sober yet. I like the idea of that. I want everyone to just party and
permanent drunkenness forever.
Yes.
After.
Yeah.
Yes.
Revelry.
I want people to develop problems after my demise.
Yeah. You sort of want to live on through your family and friends in psoriasis, right? You sort of want to, or cirrhosis, not psoriasis.
Well, psoriasis too.
Cirrhosis.
That's a hell of a combo. Yeah.
Cirrhosis and psoriasis.
Might be fun.
Got psoriasis of the liver.
It would be fun at yours to play like the never-ending story because your memory will live on forever. That would be kind of cute.
I would like
99 bottles maybe as a good funeral game. Little 99 bottles action.
Right.
Yeah.
They have to actually drink them though.
Yeah.
Like watch the horse die in the never-ending story. That'd be a fun funeral. You think
I want people to be sad, but at least pretend like they're having fun.
What was the horse's name in that movie?
I think it was Seabiscuit.
No, right? Obviously
That's the
not.
only one I
Obviously
know.
not Seabiscuit. Yeah.
Let me look it up.
Didn't Seabiscuit win like Best Picture? That
I
feels
think
like
his name is
nominated.
the same thing we'll be doing when this episode comes out. Our Taxes. Our Tax is the name of the horse. And I believe this is coming out on the 15th.
And this episode is sponsored by H&R Block. You know, what can Orange do for you? I think that's what. No, wait, that's UPS and Brown.
Well,
anyway.
So this is an interesting question. I think about like funerals. I want my funeral to be a celebration. I want people to have a good time. I want them to laugh because ultimately what I did in this life was entertain. Right. But I sometimes wonder if I would feel like I'd be like, yeah, I want them to laugh a little. But mostly I want them to be devastated. Like, it would mean a lot to me if everyone was super, super sad.
Yeah,
like
you
want to have fun, but they can't, you know?
I think you want like a wailing wake, right? You want people like screaming in agony and vocalizing.
Yeah,
sort
I
of
think
the
I'll
fact
hire,
that they
if I
miss you.
can, I'll get people to hire some of those performative criers for my funeral.
Oh, sure.
Sort of
You're worried there won't be enough, so you're gonna kind of pad it out.
Much like Jared sort of adds
with the
laughter
album
to his
and the
special,
laughter,
I kind of add crying to my funeral. So
right, you're gonna play a song at your funeral, but then pipe in over top of it a few. Like weeping
so
sounds.
Subtle. And Kevin, you are hired for the sound design of my
you
funeral.
want that specific sample cut over?
No, I just want you to design it.
It all depends on when you go too, right? Like if you go early, people are going to be sadder. If you go late, they're kind of like, well, you know, it was time.
The good thing and there aren't many, but the good thing about dying young is that at least a lot of people are going to be at your funeral, right? Like, if you die before you hit,
do you think you want your exes there, like a couple exes in funeral garb that show up and your current partner glances over at them and is like, oh, that must be them.
Yeah, I'm gonna succession the fuck out of my wedding and just put all of my exes in the same pew together. I mean, sort of gonna be one of my last rites in my will will be that all of my exes and then my current partner have to sit beside each other. That's sort of my hope. I'm gonna what's his name? Logan Roy it. I'm gonna Logan Roy it up. Yeah,
that sounds like it would be a little hairy. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you haven't seen my exes.
And you went there.
Yeah, I think. Here's a question for you guys. Ideal funeral song. So Jared's given us the Great Big Sea one. I feel like, is that the sort of the song you'd want to play at your funeral, or is that just sort of the energy you're hoping to bring in? Ideal funeral song.
Yeah.
Like, do you guys, because like I sort of oscillate with these theories. There's the dichotomy we've been talking about, right? The fun time party or the sad, like, do you want to actually be remembered? And like, honestly, funerals are not for the dead; they're for the living, right? So, like, we should keep in mind. I think that, like, the party thing that does make me feel like, oh yeah, but the artist in me wants to be like, if there's one song people think of me as, it should be like a sad, heartbreaking song.
Yes.
Even though I don't really consider myself like a particularly put upon person in everyday life, but I don't know. I feel like
I think the song should describe how you died.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
At least the title.
Yeah. So Thomas, you'll be thinking, what, Grandma got run over by a reindeer, or
it's like old Santa
Surfing USA after he drowned.
Yeah. I
Took
think
a shot of cocaine and I shot Thomas Bowles down.
Just edit it in over top like an AI voice. Thomas Tolles down. Yeah.
If you get shot, you just play that MIA song without the
bang,
shooting.
Bang, bang. All I want to do is paper planes.
Paper planes. That's the one.
Yeah, I like it. I think that song is actually just about smoking and dealing drugs. But I think, which what a way to go. What a way to go.
So cool.
Yeah,
that's a good question. Do you have one, Kevin? I feel like I have some sad songs, but they're also like songs that are about like cats dying. Speaking of the weaker thans, that song makes me cry. But it would be weird at a human funeral.
I'm sure my sincere answer is probably some like sad Nine Inch Nails song or something. But I think my maybe if I was to pick, I would maybe do like. I had it in my head, Low by Flo Rida. I sort of, if I was going to go out in any sort of way, I sort of imagine a shorty with apple-bottom jeans sort of getting so low it kills me.
Yeah.
I don't know what that exactly means. I mean, I guess I want to be smothered by someone, it sounds
sure.
Like. But, I've always thought that boots with the fur could be kind of dangerous. And so... And I think if anybody's going to kind of eulogize me properly, I would expect it to be Flo Rida and T-Pain.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, that's sort of where I stand. Low by Flo Rida and T-Pain. I'm going to be my whoever has to exist beyond this, beyond once I die, has to now cite this and bring it up. But I think maybe just the Oops All Segments theme song. Actually, as I sort of lower the casket down.
I thought you were going to say, "Oops, I did it again."
Bow, bow.
Yeah. That's what Jesus played at his second funeral.
Yeah,
coming out from the cave.
Whoops.
There's that classic, which I've sung on the song before, the Mary Ellen Carter by Stan Rogers, which I do love, but it does imply that I will be back, which is a weird vibe for the funeral.
Well,
I do like that as sort of a theme song, like a theme song at your funeral, a song where it's like the implication at the end is like, he's gonna come back, like like a fucking wrestler or something, Put the Undertaker bell after.
The 11-minute song from Donald Glover's first album, where he tells a story about flirting on a bus. People will be really confused.
Yeah. T. So do you sort of feel like, do you have a sillier idea, or are you fine with going down sad?
The silly idea would be truffle butter. Love that song, I think. And it's sort of the Holy Trinity: Lil Wayne, Drake, and Nicki together.
Right.
And
of course.
Talking about sex in a beautiful way. Drake saying how everybody in the room is so uncomfortable because of how big his girlfriend's ass is.
Yeah, and that's actually, right. Sort of similar to mine in a way.
Yeah, I think the reason they're uncomfortable is because she's a teenager, not because she has a big ass. But anyway.
So thick that everybody else in the room is so uncomfortable. It's not actually her thickness, Drake. It's not. That's not what's making us uncomfortable.
Yeah.
No, fair enough.
The thickness of her braces. Anyway.
Jesus Christ. And Jared, what about you? You got one to go down to?
Fuck the police.
Hell yeah.
The assumption being that you got killed, you sort of suicided by cop, or
it's hard because you want people, like, because it's the song that makes people cry, right? It's like the
that would be so good.
And also, you said that you're like from a small town, so I imagine there would be quite a large conservative community at your funeral as well. You'd sort of have an interesting sort of mix of vibes. So really, really kind of rile up half of the crowd with fucking.
Yeah. I don't know what I would play. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Really fun.
Right.
Or you could have like a spoken word reading of it by like
by the pastor.
Yeah, the pastor, yeah.
Fuck the police coming straight from the underground.
Yeah.
He has to say all of the
N-word.
Yeah. Well, it's a small town, so you could probably get away with it.
There's got to be one priest here who's going to say the N-word.
Yeah.
We've got to find one.
None of us even considered the fact that he would be black. He's definitely a white pastor.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And he is white passing. Anyway.
We had a gay pastor in our team.
Okay. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's United Church, though.
That's the end of the show. We end the show there.
So, just watch out with that content. We want to try to keep it pretty uncontroversial here.
Exactly.
I just wanted to, speak up for small towns.
Yeah. There's always at least one.
We don't have blacks yet, but we do have gays. So.
Yeah, they're getting there. They're getting there.
Yeah.
Really,
one step at a time.
You really shouldn't phrase it that way. We don't have yet. So let's take a break. We'll give Jared a lesson in kind of polite society.
CRT, I think, will sort of give Jess
a
quick critical race theory lesson.
Hey Josh, do you like drinks?
Hey Rob, I love drinks.
Oh my gosh, would you like having a good time?
I love having a good time.
Then dude, you gotta check out Poppin' Bottles!
What? A comedic podcast about our favorite beverages?
Absolutely. Every week we have a guest on where they talk about their favorite beverage. And then we do a whole bunch of segments. You like segments, right?
Oh, if I'm not eating an orange by segments, then I'm not enjoying it.
What about games? You like dumb games?
I love the dumber the game, the more I enjoy it.
Then you gotta check out Poppin' Bottles, available wherever you find podcasts.
And we have returned. Jared, we asked you yesterday to be on the show. Did you have time to prep a segment for us?
Oh yeah, I kind of thought of something.
Great. We'll that's more effort than we put into half the wheel. So what do you got?
Well, I was wondering, what's your weirdest, most interesting encounter with a wild animal?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Because I grew up in the bush, so I have a ton of them. But
you must have a ton of them. Is there one that immediately jumps to mind for you?
I think we gotta give Jared the closing story because
I got a couple, so maybe I'll start off with one.
Okay, we'll get you to start. We'll circle back after. I was sort of just.
I may have nothing. Is the thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Some of them are sad, but kind of funny too. Okay. One of them was here actually in Wolseley, where I live. I'm walking down Wolseley Avenue. I look up, I see a squirrel at the top of one of the taller trees, and all of a sudden, I'm with my girlfriend, and we're just kind of looking at the squirrel, and then it just falls out of the tree, straight down to the road, right in front of a car, hits the road, it's twitching, and then it stops twitching, and we're like, oh my god, it was like a thud, And then it got up and ran back up the tree. It was like the equivalent of like a 20-story building for a person.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
yeah.
It was crazy.
Boom. And then
he seemed like he had done it before. You know, he was like, whatever.
Okay, I'm good. Yeah, you saw like you saw the dumbass squirrel. Like that guy's like the guy. You know when you go to the bar and there's like your one friend who goes too hard and he kind of like gets hurt all the time. Your wild friend. That's that squirrel. He's the wild squirrel. He's like
he was a wild.
Like you said, a wild animal.
He reenacted the Tenant where he falls out of the building twice. Like, I gotta get back up and fall a second time.
Maybe he was raised by flying squirrels.
Sure.
Thought he had it in him.
Classic imposter syndrome situation.
Yeah.
This
I could do it
make
too.
me think of one. My cat I had growing up, who listeners may know, shat on my bed before it died. That was her last act on this earth. But one time she jumped. We had a little screen door, and she jumped through it with a bird in her mouth, and we assumed a dead bird, because how do you catch it, keep it in your mouth, jump through a door with it in your mouth? And she like dropped it as a gift, as cats like to do, and then it just was not dead at all, and it flew around the house and was like banging into windows and stuff. It was pretty stressful.
That does.
Did you get
stressful.
it out of the house?
Yeah.
No, it still lives
there to this day.
Yeah.
Does it pay rent? Yeah.
Yeah. It brings us worms every morning.
Every
very nice.
Yeah. You know, it's weird. I spend like a little bit of time outdoors. My family had a cabin out at Falcon Lake, so we'd go out there sometimes. And Kara's family has a cabin out at Lake St. George. It's like way out, pretty remote. And so every now and then, you know, we might encounter. And her family are big hunters. They they'll hunt like deer, and then they'll use the meat for like, you know, months on end. And it's so you'd kind of expect that I might have had a couple of like animal interactions as of late, but I actually haven't. I've sort of I kind of think it might be interesting to try hunting, but I haven't gone out for it yet. I'm not a particularly outdoorsy guy, but you know, we talked a little bit. I know that you'd said wild animals, and then Thomas sort of talked a little bit about an animal in captivity bringing in a wild animal.
Yeah,
it's pretty wild. Yeah,
yeah.
A bird is like, a wild animal. What the hell? That was like a pointless dig.
No, I mean, it was so that I could also start to foray into telling a more domesticated animal story, not so that I could tell Jared sort of all of your shortcomings, sort of what your problems are as a human being, kind of what people sort of talk about and thrive when you're not around.
Jared and I have a great relationship.
It's but so.
It's just the start.
I had a hamster when I was a little kid. One of the early pets I was sort of able to get. I really wanted one. I thought they were really cute and cuddly. And I got a hamster. I named him Neo because I was into the Matrix when I got the hamster. You know, and he was the one. And little Neo, I went on a trip to England, and little Neo sort of pooped himself to death. He got what's called wet tail. Which is something where they kind of get diarrhea, and then they dehydrate themselves, and then they die.
Oh my God! New fear unlocked.
I think I got wet tail.
Sitting on the can after a night of heavy drinking, like fuck, I think I'm gonna get wet tail. I think after all was said and done, I'm quite convinced my mother actually lied to me about Neo's death, and that because he died while we were in England. My mom and I went to England together, and she had someone taking care of the house, and my mom did not like that Neo's cage smelled. So I think my mom kind of knocked off Neo. I think she kind of gave him wet tail.
Gave your hamster diarrhea. How?
How do you do that?
I mean, or she'd maybe told her friend to get rid of it and then just told me that he shat himself to death.
How would she have come up with such a specific...
I'm quite sure it was something
disease.
I like read on a pamphlet before we got the hamster and like sort of honed in on. You know what I mean? Like it was like a thing. Like I thought it was funny that it could happen.
The pet shop owner like pointed at it meaningfully and was like, "This is how it will end."
Right. If you guys died by shitting yourself and dehydrating yourself to death, what funeral song would you use to play at your funeral if you shat yourself to death?
We don't need to go here.
This sounds like it's touching a personal bone for you.
Touching a nerve.
Yeah. Inside of your asshole or?
Mm-hmm. Prostate, actually.
Smells like Teen Spirit? No,
that's really good.
That's pretty good. That's pretty really good. It's better than you gave yourself credit for. Yeah. I'm going to shoot. What's the theme song from The Wire that ends way down in the hole?
It's got to be Corn, right?
Corn.
By Corn.
Yeah, Freak on a Leash. Yeah.
That's funny.
All right, cool. Well, I like that. I don't know if I've had like a true wild animal encounter. The other sort of thing that makes me think of Jared is that when Thomas and I, this is another animal in captivity story. I went to visit Thomas in Chicago at some point many years ago, and I went to the Chicago Zoo with Thomas. And when we went to the Chicago Zoo, one of the things they have at the Chicago Zoo is like these viewfinders to get a closer look at the animals that are in the cages and in the I guess cages isn't the right word anymore. What do they call them? Like
enclosure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that doesn't sound much better.
Cages.
Yeah, they're big fucking cages. But anyway, one of the most this is a ridiculous moment on the trip, but we were watching a family try to enjoy, I think it was a rhinoceros, right? There was a rhino, and it was a father and a son, and the son was looked clearly bored and upset, and he ran over to the viewfinder to kind of look at the rhinoceros, and but he was like standing around. He was looking around the viewfinder, not putting his eyes to it. And his dad was like, "You got to use the kaleidoscope. You got to use the kaleidoscope. You got to use the kaleidoscope." And then the kid put his eyes to the viewfinder, which requires payment in order for it to actually be functional. Like you have to put money in, and the kid put his eyes through it and just said, "This thing sucks," and walked away.
It was awesome.
And regarding a rhinoceros,
the wildest animal of all is man, isn't it?
Yes,
it's us.
So they
have a rhino. Sucks. Those are pretty rare, right? Like there's not many rhinos left.
Yeah. Fun fact: a nickname I had in high school was Rhino. I used to have a faux hawk. Yeah, I used to have a faux hawk, and because there wasn't many ways to express yourself in a Catholic private high school. I went to St. Paul's, and so that we had a truly unhinged teacher, Mr. Boulay, who would jump on the desk and throw markers at students and scream randomly. It was nuts. He was crazy. He taught us religion, and he nicknamed me Rhino. He would call me Rhino all the time, and he also nicknamed my friend who had sort of blonde and black hair Cesspool.
Yeah, you got out pretty easy there, Rhino.
I did.
Yeah. What's up? My name's Tiger, and this is my friend
Ditch Dick.
Yeah.
Shitty. So he was sort of a wild animal of himself.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mr. Boulay.
We did see some very cute little horses in Iceland as well that you could feed and come walk up to and pet, and they were extremely gentle.
Oh yeah.
And the people are so tall in Iceland that when they sit on these horses, they look even smaller.
Yeah, it really is like that boss in Elden Ring.
They're all taller, yeah.
It's like the Elden Ring boss with the tiny horse that uses his dragon magic to sit on it. Shout out whoever that guy is. I'm gonna look it up.
Shout out Elden Ring bosses.
Radon. His name is Radon.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Are you a video game guy at all, Jared?
Are you a gamer?
Not really. Not since the original Nintendo.
Move on.
Big miss with that one.
Okay.
Surprise, motherfucker.
That was a great segment. Jared, what was it called?
It was called Wild Animals. I don't know.
Nice.
Okay.
We should take to naming the segments after we do them.
Find out how
after we do them. Yeah.
Kind of like a funeral for the segment.
Yeah.
It's less right.
Perfect. Do you want to spin the wheel again, T? Or do you want
to do an audience one, or we want to do from the big wheel?
Guest submitted segments. I did put some of the, but we didn't do. I think like if we get a guest segment in the first half, we should do a wheel. If we don't get a guest segment, then maybe we should do. You know what I mean?
Let's do the wheel because we've updated it. There's some fun new stuff on it.
Sure. We'll negate whatever.
Spin the dang wheel. 1-800-BADASS. Participants must determine what the most badass way to answer the phone is. Each participant comes up with one way to answer the phone with a single line that makes them look the most badass and perform it. I think this is supposed to say perform it. It's also really over-explained. Like we got it, but it's okay. Kevin updated the whole wheel. Thank you for all that work. But work
Write a
faster,
segment once or
not
twice.
harder, Kevin. That's not the rhyme. So I've got my phone here. It's green screen, so you can't really see it. There we go.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever think about just badass phone answers?
Do you guys get a lot of phone calls?
Not as many as I used to.
I think I've got a good one right off the bat. And I'm sorry for
Fuck the police.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm sort of thinking in movies,
same answer for everything.
In movies, they answer the phone differently. Like they kind of skip the formalities. And one
You
that
ever meet
there's
somebody who
like,
does like the go for Kevin? You ever meet anybody who does that? Like go for and then they say their name. That's a movie thing. I feel.
That's
like.
really weird. I don't.
You've
like
never
that.
heard anybody that be
No.
like, go for Thomas, and that's a super weird movie thing that I hate. Yeah. I'm like, no one ever does that.
Go for Kevin.
Go for Thomas. Go for Kevin. Go for Jared.
No, but I think
back when we used to have
Sorry.
I was just say back when we had landlines, it was always like Jared speaking.
Yeah, right. Because you wanted to make sure that you knew
Yeah.
which member of the household had answered the phone.
Yeah.
Sure.
Certainly the least badass way to answer the phone is, this is the Tolls residence. Like that is
no matter where you are, no matter what your name is, if you answer the phone saying this is the Tolls residence, bitch mode, right?
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
that's not cool.
So I'm gonna just do mine. I'll just raise my phone to my ear and I'll show, and you'll recognize it from movies. But I think this one is pretty badass. Here we go.
Okay.
Talk to me.
I like that.
Talk to me is pretty
Cool
good.
one.
Talk to me is pretty good. Talk to me is pretty good.
It's your grandma, you know.
Well, I was just wondering if you were coming home for tea. Talk to me, and it's just a regular phone call.
I just immediately go into, what are you wearing? And it's your grandma.
Right away. It was plugged in when you picked it up. It deflated all the
It's ancient
badass.
too. Look at this thing. I have an iPhone 6. I think I can get money back from the government or something right now. I don't even know.
Yeah.
There's some sort of recall.
Low power mode when it's at 100%.
It is.
It's plugged in because
it has to be plugged in at all times.
What are you wearing before you even know who it is? It's a fun, and then I'll try to figure it out based on
a little mystery. I feel like if I called somebody and they asked me immediately what I was wearing, I would have to answer them. I wouldn't be able to be like, what do you you said it in such a distinct way that it demands an answer. I'm often the type of person, like someone will be like, oh, I like your shirt. Then I'll look down and realize what shirt I'm wearing because I don't pay that much attention to
flick you in the nose every time.
Yeah, which is sort of the hard thing to kind of get through, But I think I'm sort of hearkening back to maybe my. I used to work for a couple of different places that kind of would make me feel pretty badass when I'd answer the phone once in a while. So I think I'd maybe be like, Pizza Hotline, how can I help you? I feel like that's pretty
good. And that's a badass. Wow.
I never worked for Pizza Hotline.
Sure,
I was trying to remember. I was trying to remember some of the script for my Skip the Dishes call centering that I could do, but I couldn't remember. I
could just rattle off, past jobs where I had to answer phones, just so quick, say exactly that again to whoever's calling me.
I do know.
Go ahead.
Ticketmaster. I worked for Ticketmaster.
Oh my god!
And I was getting so just frustrated with the job, and I for almost an entire day I answered the phone. Ticket bastard, how may I help you? and no one noticed. It was just fast enough that they didn't really. They made a notice, but they didn't think I said it.
Right. There's one of those things where did that guy say ticket bastard? I don't know.
Yeah, and they record your calls, and no one said anything. So.
Yeah.
That's such a Winnipeg form of rebellion too. It's a classic. I'm gonna sneak in.
Just get a little jab in at them.
Yeah, a little bit.
Jab in. Yeah, no, I think now I can like it's automated in my voice, the phone call that I give when I'm doing when I have to leave a message for someone who's applied for a job with me, because I own a couple restaurants, Jared, so I do a lot of hiring, and so I often have to make phone calls, and in the job market economy is a terrible place for people, so they'll just like apply ad nauseum. Like I'll get like 200 applications, and it becomes quite automated for everyone. So pretty quickly, I'm like, "Hi there, this is Kevin calling from St. James Burger and Shipco. Looking to speak to this person. I have a couple questions about the job you placed with this or application you placed with us through Indeed. So please give me a call back at your earliest convenience. My number is," and then I tell them my phone number, and
the spiel.
Yeah, it's just like in my, here's a fun fact. I used to work at Skip the Dishes. I used to work in corporate account management. I used to have a headset on. I used to make a lot of phone calls to different, I used to work with franchises like Boston Pizza or bigger kind of chains. And I would call and kind of make sure that the franchisees didn't need anything extra for the delivery apps or checking in and kind of account managing those people. So I make a lot of phone calls throughout the day. And I started seeing a woman who worked across the desk from me because she was so into my voice. That's a real thing. So much so that we once slept together while she played my music.
Oh wow, that's and you're not together still?
Nope. Didn't work out. My voice got kind of annoying after a while.
Hate to say it.
Yeah.
Really hate to say it.
Yeah.
But I'm hard. That worked for me. And I don't want to say it's been a while, but like we got to wrap this up so I can use the good Lord.
You have to rub one out now because I don't know if I'm comfortable with inspiring.
This has been Oops All segment.
No, don't come to the thought
Jared,
of me having sex.
It's not just about answering your phone. It's also about pulling out your iPhone 3 and going to the podcast app and giving us 5 stars. Oops All segments. If you're listening, you can do what Jared is doing right now. And
if you're at home. If you're at home and you're doing the smart thing, you're hitting those 5 stars, you're doing the right thing. Do that. Hit the 5 stars. Take a second. You've got your phone in your hand. You could open up Spotify. You could open up Apple Music. You could go to Instagram even and check out Jared's Stories.
Jared's
new album.
Jared's
Stories.
He's got stories of him doing comedy on his Instagram.
Right.
I do.
Right. And he is 6 stories above you. Well, maybe
he's about to jump if you don't buy. So
I will. I'll do it.
He'll land right on top of you if you don't buy his album. But do check out Good Ideas. It's great. Jared, where can they find it? Is there an easy place that we can direct them to, or is it everywhere?
Well, yeah, it's everywhere. I mean, it's on iTunes, it's on Bandcamp, it's on Spotify, it's on Amazon Music, it's on YouTube Music. It's everywhere you get music.
Sure.
Or
we'll put links to some of the major ones in there, and we'll put a link to Jared's social in the thing. So easiest for you. You've just hit 5 stars. Just go back to the episode, look in the description, and you'll find the links you need. If you're out there, the other link you'll find in there is that we also would love to get segments from you folks. If you're listening at home and you wanna tell Thomas and I what to do with our next guest next week, or the week after that, go ahead and do that. Submit a segment to us so that Luke and Thomas's mother do not continue to do so ad nauseum. I think I'm going to change my name to Ad Nauseum. What do you guys think?
That's a good name.
Chad Nauseum.
Chad Nauseum's pretty good, actually. Maybe I'll go by Chad Nauseum.
And I'll be Brad Infinitum. It'll be cool and good.
Welcome to Oops, I'm Chad Nauseum and Brad Infinitum.
Next episode, we'll introduce ourselves that way, if we remember.
If we even have another episode.
Yeah, this might be the last one.
End.
If you like this podcast, check out What We Do in the Basement, a D&D podcast I used to be on and Kevin's still on, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's a blast.
And also check out the Antipodes and Club Soda Improv.
And, do that. Thomas, you got a show that you want to send people to?
Oh. No, I don't.